So what I would like to do is give you a couple more minutes here to just kind of look over your El Nino. Little review from yesterday, though, before you get going. Everybody point north, south, east, west. Okay, good. So long-term average conditions, that's when El Nino is not happening, right? Okay, so everything's kind of blowing towards the west, right? Okay, it's sunny in the east. There's upwelling. Okay, the sea surface temperature is hotter over there. There's a deeper thermocline. We've got like tons of weather and storms because that heat of the waters is causing evaporation and storms. So all of that is happening. Long-term average conditions near Australia. Remember, we're in the tropical Pacific Ocean. Tropical Pacific Ocean, not the Pacific Ocean that's up near Oregon. You guys ever been? Has anybody been to Oregon, Washington? Okay, man, you got to go someday. It is beautiful, but it's not a place to just go hang out in the water, right? Because it's that water's chilly. Yeah. What's that? Oh, that's the dude. Yeah. I've got more hair. People said I should watch that show. Hannah's addicted to the Ozark show right now. Anybody watch that? Hannah loves it. Yeah. I haven't. I watched the first episode. What season are you on? Oh, you finished it. Is it done? Like it's over? I didn't realize how Breaking Bad it was going to be. Like, yeah. That first episode was brutal. Like, oh my gosh. Crazy. All right. So give me a couple more minutes and then we shall talk. Do the La Nina too. Yeah, that'd be great. The La Nina.
That stands for the Nina in Spanish, right? Steven,
Yes.
that stands for the Nina in Spanish.
Yes. The
We
Nina.
didn't get 14 down.
The Nina.
You're so spoiled. I know I am. You know what I got? Will you guys together? No. And they had my birthday party on the same day. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, number 14. If El Nino values are lower. What? Positive, negative. Why do you tell me that? You get pink. The pink lollipop. I know, imagine. I think it's from I really good for today. No, they go crazy. Because they decrease the beta loss for Javen, don't you have to have your window open? Like you can't have anything covering your door window? You do what you want, right?
I'm doing it for this thing, you know.
You do what you want.
Everyone else is covered up theirs, but yeah, you're not. Which doesn't make sense to me because, like, I think it's safer to have it covered.
Me too.
So, no, Underwood's got one in there, and it's just dark, and it looks like his lights are off, just in his room all the time. So I'm like, what's he doing there? But it's just the dark
What
thing.
is he doing in there?
What is he doing? Oh yeah, it's that was by design by an old physics teacher, and it was poor design. Like he wanted it dark for like some, I don't know, he had some reasons. He's no longer with us.
Positive, negative,
What? Yeah. Whatever you got. Speak up, what did you get?
What I just said.
Like,
I'm just walking up to you. What'd you get? I got like a pink lemonade. And then something from it was not.
Go to be eastward and then you look at the map. It's going further west. Oh, I see what you're further west.
are you collecting these?
Yeah.
Are you collecting these?
Yeah.
You're taking a grade?
Yeah.
Are you doing a completion grade or?
Yeah, no, right, wrong.
Oh. Well. Wait, I thought we were doing this. I'm gonna curve this because I'm really confused. I think it was graded. Yeah, it's graded. Decrease is greater less. What do you think it
Hey, so I did. The 16, the air pressure pattern when it be decreases westward.
Max, you got any questions at this point? You doing okay? Right. Okay, good.
Mr. B positive and like negative and same with increase and decrease, right?
Hold on a quick second. Sorry. Parents.
Positive and negative are like the same as increase and decrease.
Yeah, so it'll give you a little bit of that. So the anomalies are. Are you looking for the, what are you looking for? Use anomaly?
Right, so like
Okay.
positive would be like an increase, right?
So, yeah, so,
Oh, I just.
readings are higher
But what?
than they're positive if they're lower than that.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep. How we doing? Almost done? Okay. Another couple minutes and we'll chit chat.
Higher and negative.
Hey, line to
So right here is higher.
on 16,
The bottom,
the long
yeah, the
term
bottom.
average in Pacific. That's negative.
Your mask. It's killing me.
Okay, let's go back to our checklist to see how about I support that. Do the first page. Start with the no. Yeah, the first aid in class, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think
I thought you meant like weed and stuff.
no.
Yeah, I think you should. It's a good investment.
Well, if me, I goes, like, if we're getting the black lights, then I asked our burn for we need to talk to the board to higher. And, Carson said we must like the first. 11, yes, 11 is higher. Wait, what?
Okay.
Which I think is 11 is higher.
Steve Jackson has a do rag. Steve Jackson's do rag.
No, the air bladder.
Oh, where was just last year?
Then the next one I have is
All right, ready? Ready to talk? Okay.
Well, you look at, it's actually, they go to your, on the eastern side, only you see it? Here.
Did you also hear that?
This is the hour, this is shower. And then the way you can tell it's down is because of these, because there are two here. And then only one. And there we make it work. Nah, I don't. Oh, she said we're gonna get rid of it if we started early.
I don't think Dave wants to.
We're in the last round. We did this yesterday.
Yeah, I think I need to go.
Oh, yeah, we did this.
Reservations for two.
So, yeah, we're only like one person.
Yeah, for dinner. Well, I'm gonna kick them out, but I don't know about paying. We saw him working yesterday. Okay. You're covering the shadow.
That goes.
It was his car that looked like it was a BMW thing for him. That was blue and besides the other
Oh, yeah.
out towards your house. Yep. That'd be nice.
Mrs. Randall's taking selfies of what people are reading or like some of their favorite books. What's that? Oh, yeah. Reading selfies. You're right. That isn't a selfie. Sorry, that was embarrassing. All right, let's do this. See how you did. See if you got A plus. Okay. Number 11, with the onset of El Nino, tropical air surface pressure patterns change. Compare the red El Nino readings to the western central tropical Pacific windows with the black marks along the sides. Black marks indicate the long-term average reading, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why. Okay, during long-term average conditions, the surface air pressure in the central Pacific is higher than to the west. During El Nino, the surface air pressure to the west is higher for that one. So it kind of like switches, okay? So the air pressure was high in the east, and remember, things move from a high to low. Wake up there, kiddo. Okay, all right, stick with me. I don't want you to miss this. Okay, right? Okay, good. And that seesaw pattern going from when it was east to west, we call that southern oscillation. So when you're looking at El Nino, it will actually say ENSO. And yesterday when we looked at that, you're like, we looked up the actual El Nino in last fall, or no, it was currently, and you can see it said ENSO. That's El Nino Southern Oscillation. All right, number 12. In response to changes in the air pressure patterns across the tropical Pacific, the speed of the trade winds decreases, and the wind direction can reverse, especially in the western Pacific. No longer being pushed towards and piled up in the western, the warm surface water reverses flow, as seen in the surface currents window. The surface water currents during El Nino flow towards the east, right? As evident in the sea surface temperature window, this causes sea surface temperatures in the eastern tropical Pacific to be higher than long-term average conditions, right? We're just reversing things. In response to surface currents, sea surface heights in the eastern tropical Pacific are higher than long-term average levels. At the same time, the arrival of the warmer water causes the surface warm water layer to thicken. Evidence of this is the deeper depth of the thermocline compared to long-term average conditions, okay? So you're adding more of that warm water to the top, so pushes the colder water down. Okay, differences between existing conditions and long-term average conditions are called anomalies. If El Nino readings are higher than the respective long-term averages, okay, the anomalies are positive. If El Nino values are lower, the anomalies are negative. In the eastern tropical Pacific during El Nino, the sea surface temperature anomaly is positive, right? Okay, so it was higher than long-term average conditions. The sea surface height anomaly is positive because it's higher than long-term average. And the surface air pressure anomaly is negative, right? Because we're going now from it went from low now to high. Okay, and the rainfall anomaly is positive, right? Right? Because it should be more rainy in the east. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys get it? You guys got positive? Yeah, you got me. I've been known to be wrong before. All right. So if you could just capture the picture here, essentially what's happening is long-term average conditions, everything's moving towards the west, right? And then all of a sudden that air pressure changes. Now it was high, okay, to low. Now I'm going high over here in the west to low in the east, right? So now I'm pushing more of that weather. That's shifting the patterns. I've gone from what looked to be, really stormy weather, okay, in the west near Australia to now that weather is occurring more in why can't I do this? In the east, okay? So closer to Central and South America. All right, what about La Nina? Okay, let's try this one. This is also weirdy. Okay, it doesn't happen as much as El Nino. Okay, but here we go. So the tropical Pacific at time experiences trade winds stronger than the long-term average, with sea surface temperatures lower than the usual in the eastern tropical Pacific and higher than usual in the western. Associated with these La Nina conditions are anomalies generally opposite those occurring to El Nino. Okay, blah, 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 blah. We insert. Okay, here we go. The stormy weather in the western tropical Pacific has been displaced westward, right? Okay, so think of like when I'm pushing over this way, I'm pushing all the way from this cabinet. Now I'm like I'm way west. I'm into the prep room now, right? Okay, it's going way more west. Okay, so during La Nina, the stronger trade winds are driven by an air pressure pattern that increase or decrease westward. Decreases, right? So it's still high, super high in the east, and it decreases as it goes more westward. Okay, the air pressure differences between the eastern and western Pacific is greater yet than long-term average. Okay, the trade winds drive surface currents towards the west, resulting in sea surface temperatures in the western Pacific that are slightly higher, right, than long-term average, while the eastern Pacific experiences negative anomalies. Okay, last but not least, the La Nina wind and current patterns produce a thermocline depth in the eastern Pacific that is shallower, right, and lead to stronger upwellings, right? And is upwelling a good thing or a bad thing? It's a good thing. Let's go back to Conrad's video for just a quick second, and we'll take a look at this one part here.
Because God.
Hold on a second, I'll show you this one little part here. Here we go.
Are felt throughout the Americas. In the ocean, warm water pushes colder water downward, blocking the important upwelling of nutrient-rich waters from the bottom. This causes some marine life to migrate to colder waters. Animals that normally feed on the sea life suffer, and fisheries throughout Central and South America suffer too. But El Nino is most notable.
Right, so there's that upwelling is so important for that food change stuff, right? You know, we got to remember those secondary consumers, you know, if they're not eating that krill, that kind of stuff, we're in big trouble. Okay, I found this yesterday. I thought it was pretty good. So let's just take 2 minutes here and watch this from the New York Times. So
in 1998, it caused.
Sorry.
Look. The phenomenon called El Nino can disrupt weather patterns around the world. In 1998, it caused floods and mudslides in California. Around the same time, it also caused these floods across the South. But it all started thousands of miles from either location. Picture the equatorial Pacific. That's South Asia and Australia on the left, and South America on the right. Pacific trade winds normally blow from east to west, pushing warm surface water with them. The warm water evaporates, adding moisture to the air and bringing the annual monsoons to the region. In the eastern Pacific, as the surface water is pushed westward, cold water wells up from the deep to replace it. The cold water helps keep the air and the South American coast dry. But sometimes the trade winds stop. Scientists don't know precisely why, but when they do, the warm water moves back east. That's when El Nino takes hold. The pattern of rainfall is reversed. Australia and South Asia suffer drought, and coastal South America is hit by storms. But the warm water in the eastern...
Remember I was just listening to somebody talk about how horrible 2020 was. And you remember what kicked off 2020 and well, part of it was because of El Nino, but what happened in Australia? Yeah, huge fires, right? It was crazy. I got to follow along a little bit because there was an elementary school teacher, Angelica Bojay. Did anybody know her? She was only here for a few years. she and her fiance at the time were in Australia and had like 30 minutes to evacuate their where they were staying. And she sent me pictures of what it looked like 30 minutes later, and it was just like to the ground. It was insane. But she was in the middle of all that. Yeah, so
The
there you
Pacific
go.
causes other changes as well. High atmosphere winds called jet streams circle the planet. El Nino can alter the path of those winds, driving Pacific storms to California. As the jet stream winds continue across the continent, they can keep the colder Arctic temperatures at bay. That can make for a warmer winter in the Northeast and Northwest. That's why in 2010, when El Nino once again brought flooding to California, farther up the west coast in Vancouver, the Winter Olympics were hampered by unusually warm weather. It was all thanks to El Nino.
I don't know, I like that one a lot. Just another way to kind of help you bring that together. All right, I will give you credit for doing this. I appreciate that. So consider this a participation thing. Whoa, that freaked me out.
To fight against global warming, the
No,
world needs to
keep 'em.
sharply reduce emissions of carbon dioxide gas.
Keep them. Okay, Maggie, got it? Everything good? Okay, sweet. Let's stop there for today on a Friday. How's that sound, everybody? All right, Maggie. Have a great weekend, okay? See you later.